CSI. There you go. That's better than nothing, I guess. Now, if you're thinking about CSI, we're talking about the original show that takes place in Las Vegas, Nevada. Yes, they do shoot in Las Vegas when they need to, but the home of CSI has always been right here on the Universal Studios front lot. And as we continue along the front line, you want to take a look on the right-hand side of the tram. We're going to be passing by a little bit of Hollywood history. This big building on the right is Soundstage 28, one of the oldest stages here at Universal. And over 80 years ago, we invented the horror movie inside 28. Soundstage 28 was constructed to house the Paris Opera House for the Phantom of the Opera all the way back in 1925. 28 was also the home of the Bride of Frankenstein, Mother from Psycho, Eventual T-Rex from the Lost World Jurassic Park, and again, my good friend the Grinch from Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And once more on the left-hand side of the tram, passing by this time is Soundstage 27, and 27 is the home for the Mindy Project, starring Mindy Kaling over on Fox TV. Well, wait a minute. Fox TV? As in 20th Century Fox? Our mortal enemies! No, we don't have mortal enemies here in Hollywood. We all get along. All the studios work with each other. In fact, I'm going to teach you guys something that I bet you did not know on today's tour. Universal Studios is owned by NBC, the network. That's where we get the name NBC Universal nowadays. And when we're talking about NBC Universal, we're not just talking about Universal or NBC. We're talking about the E! Network, Sci-Fi Channel, USA, Bravo, Telemundo, the Golf Channel, CNBC, MSNBC, the Weather Channel, the Oxygen Network, and even the brand new NBC Sports, just to name a few. Now, if you've been watching NBC this fall, lots of new premieres, including Sean Saves the World, starring Sean Hayes. That film's here on the front lot. Ironside, as long as it's still on TV, has filmed here at Universal Studios as well. And we have a returning champion back for Season 6. This show shoots inside Soundstage 44, coming up on the right-hand side of the tram. And the name of that champion, of course, is my favorite show, Parenthood. Oh! Now, if you're a fan of Parenthood, you guys have been watching it on NBC on Tuesday nights. But hopefully you got the memo this season, because Parenthood is on Thursday nights this time. If you're looking for Parenthood, look for Thursday nights and you'll see all new episodes. Or you can DVR it and watch it anytime you want. As we continue along the front lot, back over on the left-hand side of the train, you'll see those little houses going by. We call those production bungalows, and they house some of the biggest production companies ever right here on our front lot. And it's usually right here in the bungalow area that we get to see the big-time Hollywood stars that work here at the studio on a daily basis, and today is no different. Hopefully you have the camera ready. If you do, turn it to the left, and I guarantee you a celebrity picture on today's tour. You know this guy, no matter where you're from. That's how world-renowned he is. He's even going to pose for you so you can get the best picture possible. There he is. It's our good friend, Mr. Potato Head. And if you keep looking to the left, you'll see a famous bungalow going by. That would be Bungalow 5195, home of the Dino De Laurentiis production company. They're the fine folks that produced the hit TV show Hannibal, as seen on NBC. Somebody gonna answer that? Oh. Hannibal Season 2 NBC. Kids, stay up and watch it. It will give you nightmares for weeks. Alright, we're getting ready to leave the front lot portion of the tour behind, and right now we're going to cross over into the Universal Studios back lot. This is where we keep the really big stuff. Now, as we come around the bend, if you take a look on the right-hand side of the tram, you're going to notice this beautiful cityscape passing by. Hopefully I don't have to tell any of you that's a giant digital picture that you're looking at. I'm sure you guys figured that out on your own. Now, that picture that you see is covering up an area of the back lot that we're going to visit in just a few moments on today's tour, and the name of that area is the Universal Studios Metro sets. Keep looking to the right, you'll see it. The Metro sets are comprised of all these really big and cool-looking buildings. And do yourselves a favor as we pass by these buildings. Peek in the doorways and the windows. You're going to notice something a little strange about these structures. These buildings are totally empty. And that's because they're not real. They're what we call facades. They're just the fronts and sides of these structures. We only build what the camera will see. Your imagination fills in the rest. What even looks like real brick and stone is merely just foam rubber and fiberglass. Keep in mind, if you ever see actors enter these buildings in TV shows and movies, and those actors are standing in a room in the next scene, that room was probably built on one of the sound stages that we passed by in the front lot. Now, the Metro sets are divided into different areas here on the back lot. Right now, we're going to cross over to one of the most recognizable areas of the Metros. We're going to visit what we call Courthouse Square. Take a really good look around. I'm sure you've seen Courthouse Square before. You guys look confused. I don't know if that's because you don't recognize Courthouse Square or if that's the look on your face all the time. All right, I'll help you out. Don't worry. This is where you have seen in Courthouse Square. I bet all of you have seen it in this little film. This is Michael J. Fox looking up at the famous clock tower building from Back to the Future. Now take a look to the left. You see that building that says City Hall on it? That's the same building that you're looking at. And I know it looks different, but keep in mind, guys, we reuse Courthouse Square all the time for different TV shows, movies, commercials, and music videos. Every time we have to reuse it, we have to change the way it looks so you don't recognize it from one production to the next. Here's what we're talking about. This is what Courthouse Square looked like in 85's Back to the Future, but that's what it looked like in 83 Psycho 2. That's still the courthouse. The courthouse steps that you see on the left-hand side of the tram, the same steps these kids are running up in To Kill a Mockingbird from 1962. Courthouse Square also popped up in Bruce Almighty in 2003, but this one gets tricky, so I'll pause it. See the courthouse building there in the background? That's it. And of course you saw Courthouse Square featured in 1989's Back to the Future Part 2. And as we leave Courthouse Square behind, we're going to cruise down one of the most popular areas the Metro sets. We're going to visit what we call New York Street. You can probably figure out why we call this area New York Street. It looks like Manhattan on this side of the street. The farther down we go, New York Street looks a little more like Portland. And I can tell you how we use New York Street here at Universal. I have somebody on the tour that knows New York better than I do, because that's where he shoots his show late night. It's my co-host, Jimmy Fallon.
Hey everyone, welcome to New York! I got my start right here in New York on Saturday Night Live. This is actually my old neighborhood. I once got mugged over there by an old woman, tough lady. This is my favorite hot dog guy. Hey buddy, how's it going? Remember me? No. Just like old times. Gotta love New York City. Hey, I'm walking here! I'm walking here! Hey, it's cool guys. I was just walking there. So it's not exactly New York, but a lot of times when you see New York in the movies, it was shot right here on the Universal Metro sets. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. Even if you make it here on the Universal Oct.
You can see New York Street double as New York City on the Mindy Project starring Mindy Kaling on Fox TV. You also saw New York Street featured on Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Now, how can we talk about New York Street or New York City without mentioning its most famous or infamous resident? Big old King Kong. Back in 2005, Universal Studios released a movie called King Kong, directed by Academy Award-winning director and friend of the studio, Mr. Peter Jackson.
It's the original King Kong that made me want to direct movies. I saw that movie on TV when I was about 8 or 9 years old, and I wanted to become a filmmaker. I like films that just take you away from your real life and sweep you up on the edge. Kong literally does that. I mean, you're on board the ship, you're sailing to a lost island, you're encountering monsters and creatures from, prehistoric times. So I was thrilled when Universal invited me back to Skull Island. It's great to have you along for the ride. Now, we have created this 3D immersive experience, so you're going to have your glasses ready. Don't put them on yet, but just have them in your hand because we're about to return to Skull Island.
2005. They also did the effects works in the Lord of the Rings films, including the new Hobbit movies coming out right now. And they did the 3D for James Cameron's Avatar. That's why the 3D looked so good. Now, speaking of looking, this area may look a little familiar. We just drove up this hill a few moments ago. As we drive up the hill, if you have a camera ready, go ahead and turn it over on the right-hand side of the tram. You can grab a picture of the opening of Skull Island if you missed it the first time. But beyond the opening on the right, you're going to notice that dilapidated bridge here on the back lot. That bridge has been on the Universal Studios tour for over 50 years, and we use it for filming all the time. In fact, you may recognize the bridge from this episode of Quantum Leap starring Scott Bakula. There's Mr. Bakula running over the bridge. There's his co-star clinging to the bridge. And there's a very nice shot of the bridge right there. Earlier in that clip, we saw a van driving over the bridge. That van's what we call a picture car. If you're not familiar with the term picture car, keep looking at your screens. I'll show you some very famous picture car examples. Bet better. Picture car is any vehicle that's on TV or movie set filmed by the cameras, and some of these cars have gone on to become just as famous as the stars that have driven them. If you have your own cameras ready, turn them to the left, you'll see some of these picture cars passing by, including Magna PI's Ferrari 308. We've got some of the cars featured at Back to the Future's Parts 1 and 2 going by. For the kids, if you saw the Flintstones movie, there's some of the prehistoric cars they used in the making of the Flintstones. And how can we talk about picture cars without mentioning the Fast and the Furious? There's some of the rides from the Fast and Furious going by. You guys must be Fast and Furious fans because you helped Fast and Furious 6 make over $500 million with a B, $1 billion at the box office. So good news for the fans. Fast and Furious 7 is in production right now. You guys will get it in theaters next year. Now, the Fast and Furious franchise is a pretty important franchise to Universal Studios, but we're known for our movie franchises. There's one we haven't heard a lot from lately. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I'll give you a hint on what we're going to see next on the back lot today.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
That's right, we're heading into the heart of Jurassic Park. Passing by on either side of the tram, you're going to see vehicles and set pieces used in all 3 of Steven Spielberg's Jurassic Park films. It's about to be 4 Jurassic Park films because in 2015, you guys will be able to see the brand new Jurassic Park movie, Jurassic World. It's in pre-production right now. It's going to be great. Can't wait for it. Now, you guys are lucky. On today's tour, we are going to give you a preview of Jurassic World, so have a camera ready. Because how can you talk about a Jurassic Park movie without mentioning dinosaurs, right? Well, here's some dinosaurs for you. And how can you have a Jurassic Park film without having screaming people playing right now? Jurassic World 2015 can't wait. And of course, weather played an integral role setting up the mood for the Jurassic Park films, and a lot of people ask me on the tour, how do we do weather effects here at Universal? I could tell you, but I have somebody on board the tram that knows a lot more about the weather than I do. It is Al Roker from NBC's Today Show. Hey Al, what is the weather on the Universal Studios back lot?
Hi everybody, here's today's forecast for the Universal back lot.
Here we go.
It's going to be sunny and dry in 6 Points, Texas.
I like it.
Cool and cloudy in Little Europe.
Okay.
Expect snow and sleet on New York Street.
We can deal with
We've got
that.
a high chance of 5 and precipitation for Skull Island, Amity Island, and Island of God.
Not bad.
That's your forecast for today. Now here's a look at what's going on in your neck of the woods.
All right, here we go. Flash flood warning. Al, buddy, you gotta be kidding me. I don't know about you folks, but I was told to have the flash flood here in Southern California, we need a ton of rain. Take a look around. There's not a cloud in the sky, even though I kind of hear thunder. That was weird. And I just checked the weather before we left. It's like 77 degrees out. It's perfect SoCal weather. Except for that rain. Whoa, that rain came out of nowhere. How's that even possible? And that thunder I heard a moment ago actually sounds a lot closer now. I'll start to get worried. Well, if I have anybody that's new to Southern California with me on today's tour, let me share a little bit of information with you. Having this much rain on a muddy hill that we're parked right next to, that is a recipe for a flash flood. And they call these things flash floods for reasons. Because these floods come on in a flash. Now, you may be asking yourself, exactly how fast is a flash? Well, got this written down for everybody. Yikes, I see a flash coming. If you're hanging your camera outside the tram, you might want to pull it in a little bit. That one's fly, and that goes for everybody in cars 1 and 2 as well. Yikes. That is a lot of water. I didn't expect that at all. Actually, I did. I do this like 5 times a day. Now, was the result of thousands of gallons of recycled water. We keep it at the top of the hill in a very large tank. All we do is open the doors of the tank and the water flows right down, and that rain is a sprinkler system hidden up in the trees. And maybe some of you recognize the flash flood effect from the movie Big Fat Liar, starring Frankie Muniz and Amanda Bynes. Oh wait, that's not. Let's try this one right here. That's better.
You can't outrun a wolf, kid!
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Hang on, buddy, pump!
And of course you recognize Oscar nominee Paul Giamatti getting washed away in the flood. Even though it's Monday, guys, it's kind of quiet on the back lot today. We don't have a lot of filming going on. But if you take a look over on the left-hand side of the tram, you'll see a little bit of action. These folks that you see are the New York Film Academy students. They come and they use our facilities all the time. The facility that they're using is what we call 6 Points, Texas. If you look closely, 6 Points looks like an old western town. It's supposed to, because that's the street where some of the biggest cowboy stars got their careers started. Big Hollywood cowboy stars, just like these guys. Who those nice gentlemen were. It's so sad that I have to say that nowadays. Okay, guys, we showed you a couple of special effects on the tour already today. There is another one coming up, and this one is my personal favorite. Take a look over on the left-hand side of the tram as we cruise along the back lot. Passing by, you're going to see this big round object. It looks like a gigantic pipe with stairs running up it. We call that the Universal Studios water tank. And when we want to throw our actors in a body of water, the tank is the perfect place to do it, like we did in the comedy Dragnet, starring Tom Hanks and Dan Aykroyd. That's them getting tossed in the tank with water inside it. Sometimes we'll put in a surprise or two.
I found the snake!
Tom found the snake. Now take a look to the right-hand side of the tram. You see that pavement in front of the water tank that we just drove over? That doubled as the surface of the moon for the Tom Hanks film Apollo 13. We can and do film on every square inch of the Universal Studios lot. Now the water tank is what we call a practical effect here at Universal Studios. It's a special effect that doesn't use any of that fancy computer animation you guys see nowadays in modern movies. A great example of a lot of computer animation in a movie is King Kong that came out in 2005, directed by Peter Jackson. In fact, the King Kong that you saw in King Kong 360 3D, he was a computer model. That's how they made him for the film. However, there are some practical effects in the movie King Kong, and we're going to show you one of those effects on today's tour. But to do so, we're going to get a little weird here on the back lot. What do I mean by weird? Take a look on the right-hand side of the tram. You'll be looking at the beautiful Universal Studios Lagoon. And on today's tour, we're going to drive our tram into that lagoon. If you don't believe me, take a look ahead. It's going to happen. But it's going to happen in a way where we don't get you wet. Have your cameras ready. Point them forward at the water. This water will part on the count of 3. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. And if everything goes according to plan, sometimes it doesn't, but thank goodness it worked this time. The water is magically moving right out of the way. Real high-tech stuff here, kids. I'm going to teach you something else on the tour. The man that invented this special effect for us here at Universal Studios went on to invent the microwave oven. And that's totally not true. That's totally not true. All right, keep your cameras out and ready. This time you want to turn them over on the left-hand side of the tram. As we go into the lagoon, passing by, you're going to see the Venture, the big ship, and Skull Island, where King Kong lived, both featured in Peter Jackson's King Kong. And I get not everybody is into this kind of thing, so if that's you, you have another option. You can turn your cameras to the right-hand side of the tram and take pictures of the ducks as they swim by. But as you can see on the left, both the Venture and Skull Island are highly detailed miniatures. Believe it or not, that's as big as either ever got in the film. If you take a look at your screens, you'll see that we shot the sequence for King Kong right here in the lagoon using those exact same models. We shot it right here. And this is what the final shot looks like on the silver screen. This is what you guys saw in theaters. Absolutely real. In fact, keep looking at your screens and I'll prove to you we shot this here in the lagoon. That is not a giant mutant-sized duck swimming by the Venture. That's just a regular-sized lagoon duck going by. Now here at Universal Studios, we can go anywhere in the world at a moment's notice. It's very easy for us to do. In fact, as we come around the bend, if you keep looking on the left-hand side of the tram, you're going to see some more set pieces going by. We call that area Little Europe. We can transform those sets into any foreign country around the world at a moment's notice. It's very easy to do. All we do is put up signage in that country's language and national flag, so you know exactly which country our actors are in. Now, we do have a surprise for you guys on the tour today. Before we get to that surprise, keep looking on the left-hand side of the tram. You're going to see this beautiful house going by. That house is featured in the TV show Home and Family. You can catch that on the Hallmark channel. I'm going to turn my mic down a little bit because I believe they're filming inside. And since we can't drive by the house today, we're going to take you inside one of our sound stages here in the back lawn. In front of us is Soundstage 50. And 50 was used recently by our friends at Fox TV for their hit show Bones, starring David Boreanaz and Emily Deschanel.
Look, they're sweet.
He looks very upset.
When I talked to him, he got in his arms.
That's with the FBI?
FBI, yeah. We hear about the human remains.
That's him. Right over there.
So take a really good look around. And what you're going to be looking at is a recreation of a portion of the BART transit system up in San Francisco, California. I've been up to San Fran. This looks like Site B, I believe. I think it is. I think that's what it's modeled after. Now you'll notice, no matter what side of the tram you're sitting on, if you look to the left, look to the right, there are stairs that you're seeing. Those stairs are functional. They actually lead somewhere. They lead to a second floor above us. This is Hollywood's only two-level soundstage. Nobody else has a two-level soundstage except Universal Studios. Now you may be wondering what's on floor number 2. Well, number 2 is set up to look like Waterfront Street in San Francisco. We have Alright guys, don't worry, it's a tremor. They come and go here in California all the time. Alright, everybody just remain seated, remain calm, and put your seatbelts on. This could be the big one. Oh no, on the left, the ceiling is collapsing back there. And that truck is coming right at us, look out! No! Well, at least you can see the second floor now. Hang on! Oh, that one hurt. Just hang on, everybody. Whoa! Oh man, I should have shook that huge soda right before the door. That was a mistake. Oh! And I can't believe some of you are taking pictures at a time like this. That's very inappropriate. Whoa! Oh no, brace yourselves! That one hurt too. Oh no, on the left, the train effect went off. And the train has got nowhere to go! Alright, I think it's over, and maybe not, because what would an earthquake be without the plumbing going kablooey? Remember, if you're sitting in a blue seat, you might get a little wet. Don't worry, we'll put it all back together again, I promise. There you go. Congratulations, you just survived your own disaster film. That was Earthquake the Big One. That was a mechanical effect recreating an 8.3 earthquake on the Richter scale. And our friends at Fox TV used that same effect for that same episode of Bones. Take a look.
What's going on?
to the beach, and this beach is kind of famous. You may have heard of it. It's called Amity Island. If you heard of Amity, you heard about the shark problem we had here a while ago, but you'll only see one shark on the tour today. Turn those cameras to the right-hand side of the tram, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. It's the shark that we caught. There he is hanging up. The terror is finally over. And if you're still looking to the right, you'll see a police boat out there in the waters of Amity. Nothing to worry about. We've got divers looking for other sharks all the time. I'm going to see if I can get the diver's attention. See the bubbles out there? That's the diver in. Oh, wait a minute. Is that a shark fin that just broke the surface of the water? I think it is. And that shark is making a beeline for that diver out there. Ah, diver guy, there is a shark in the water with you, pal. Swim for the boat, dude. Can you hear me? Dude, get... Oh, folks. I'm sorry you had to witness this. He had a lot of guts for being out there. Ew, and there they are. That's gross. Okay, nobody panic. And I can see that none of you are. I have an idea. How about we pull up behind these explosive barrels on the pier? We'll be safe there, right? Keep your eyes open. That shark is still out there somewhere. Okay, he grabbed the bait on the barrel. We can trap him, but we got a problem. That gas pump came loose. It's spraying gas on the dock. Who said all that gas got ignited and now we have a fire? Kids, I told you, no smoking on the tram. Oh, boy. And remember, that shark is still out there somewhere. There he is. Now, sometimes that pesky great white is a little too quick for people. So if you want another picture, keep your cameras turned to the right, and as we come around the bend, you can get a great shot of the only shark on the left that can do the backstroke. And there he goes. Now that shark worked a lot better than the mechanical shark worked in the movie Jaws. When they brought that animatronic shark out to the middle of the Atlantic Ocean and they put him in the water for the very first time, he immediately sank to the bottom, which prompted the production crew to nickname the troubled movie Flaws. Think about it, you guys get it. I have director Steven Spielberg here on today's tour with some of the cast from Jaws to tell you a little bit more about that mechanical menace.
That's a much maligned shark. The shark was frustrating. It didn't really work all the time. It didn't work hardly at all.
Wherever you were on the island, you could hear the radio lines. They were always saying, the shark is not working. Repeat, the shark is not working.
We just waited around. The shark worked well enough. For a while there, I had the biggest hit of all time. So I really owe the shark a lot.
And there's a picture of the happy couple. That's director Steven Spielberg with a mechanical shark that he named Bruce. He named the shark after his lawyer. And that's a true story. Now, if you take a look on the right-hand side of the tram, passing by, you'll see a house that we call the Chicken Ranch. And you may recognize the Chicken Ranch from these TV shows and movies over the years. And on the left-hand side of the tram, you'll see the opening of a street that we call Colonial Street here on the Universal Studios back lot. But Colonial Street went under another name a little while ago. That used to be the world-famous Wisteria Lane, featured in ABC's Desperate Housewives. Unfortunately, Wisteria Lane is closed on today's tour because they're doing some filming for a commercial down there. So I'll show you what Wisteria Lane looks like on film with some help from ABC's Desperate Housewives.
If there is one thing everyone in suburbia can appreciate, it's a good neighbor. What the heck? Let's move back.
I have my fingers crossed for a reunion movie. Hopefully it's going to happen. Alright, so since we can't drive down Wisteria Lane on today's tour, I'm going to make it up to you guys by taking you to one of my favorite places here on the back lot. You can see that place going by on the the left-hand side of the tram, what you're looking at are set pieces that we used to create Whoville, featured in Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Now, kids, I gotta warn you, Whoville has been overrun by The Walking Dead because we are celebrating our annual Halloween Horror Night event going on this weekend. If you want tickets for Halloween Horror Nights, you can get them in the park today or online at universalstudioshollywood.com/Halloween Horror Nights. And the Who's don't only have to worry about the Grinch or apparently The Walking Dead here on the back lot because they have a lot of weird neighbors, and I think you could call one of these dudes a real psycho. Keep your cameras pointed to the right-hand side of the train. You'll get a great shot of the Bates Motel. And up on the hill, you'll see the infamous Psycho House featured in Alfred Hitchcock's classic thriller Psycho. And if any of you are on vacation here in Southern California and you're looking for a place to stay tonight, I understand the Bates Motel does have several rooms available.
We have 12 vacancies. 12 cabins, 12 vacancies.
How can you not trust a face like that? And coming up next, we're going to take you inside one of the largest sets ever constructed for a motion picture. We're going to visit the crash site featured in Steven Spielberg's War of the Worlds. So keep those cameras ready. Trust me, you won't believe what we're about to see. Well, wait a minute. I can't believe what I'm seeing up on the porch of the Psycho Houses. That's why it is who I think it is. It is Norman Bates, our good friend. He never comes out to say hi to the tours. This is rare. That's not rare. He does that all the time. Come on, Norman. We don't have the shirts to cover this, buddy. This is all that remains of the neighborhood that Tom Cruise lays out from the aliens in the film. And yes, on the left-hand side of the tram, that is a real Boeing 747 that Paramount and DreamWorks Pictures destroyed for the making of this scene from Steven Spielberg's War of the Worlds.
The airplane crash site set is a perfect example of a set that is all designed around the vision of Steven.
Yeah, to sit down and talk about the War of the World. I thought, what if the 747 goes down right in a big neighborhood? Because it's just something you don't see.
You're doing good. You're doing great. Keep pressing me. Listen, now, close your eyes, okay? Got them closed? Robbie, get in. Get in.
We're getting ready to wrap up the tour and get you all back to Trail Plaza. But before we do that, there's a couple more things that we want to show you on the back lot today. As we travel up this hill, you want to start looking over on the right-hand side of the tram. You're going to notice that we're going to be passing by a log cabin. Now, this cabin looks familiar to a lot of people because it's popped up in a lot of productions over the years. You may recognize the cabin as Coach's cabin from the TV show Coach, starring Craig T. Nelson. The cabin popped up in season 3 of Desperate Housewives. We blew the cabin up at the end of the movie Shooter, starring Mark Wahlberg. But the cabin is most fondly remembered from the 1980s comedy The Great Outdoors, starring the late, great John Candy. There's the cabin right there. And beyond the cabin on the right-hand side of the tram, you'll notice that big blue wall out on the back lot. We call that area Falls Lake. That's a man-made lake that we can fill or drain anytime that we need to. And Falls Lake was built back in the mid-1980s for the third sequel to the Jaws films, Jaws the Revenge. Here's the scene they shot out here. I'll show you how it works. This is what Falls Lake looks like when it's filled with water. See how the water's touching the skyline? The skyline is the big blue backdrop that you see on the right-hand side of the tram. So that means all the clouds that you see in the background in this scene from Jaws the Revenge, those clouds are not real. They're painted on the wall. Pretty simple. Falls Lake was also featured in Jurassic Park 3 starring Sam Neill. We kept it dry like now for the whole glaring banner. Tom Hanks splashed down here in Apollo 13. Frankenstein rode off into the sunset here from Van Helsing. Jim Carrey walked on the water here from Bruce Almighty. And George Clooney almost drowned here with a cow from Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And as promised, guys, we are headed back to Trail Plaza. That is the end of the tour, but before I let you go, I'm going to turn it one final time over to my co-host, Jimmy Fallon. He has a special musical goodbye just for you.
Well, I can't believe it. We've made it to the end of our tour, you guys. How about...
John!
Indeed! Weren't they the best?
Yeah.
Hey, before we go, I'd like to sing you a little song I made up when I was just 5 years old. It's called Tramcast. We We had a real good time together. Now the ride is done. We saw some crazy cool stuff, and we had a lot of fun. This tram has made its final stop, but don't be sad and blue, 'cause there's still one more thing that I'd like to say to you. Have a tram-tastic day. Have a tram-tastic night. Watch your step as you exit the tram, and everything will be alright. Come on, have a tram-tastic day. Have a tram-tastic night. Just watch your step as you exit the tram, and everything will be alright. Just the dads now, and everything will be alright. Just the moms, and everything will be alright. Just yours. Okay, have a tram-tastic day. Have a tram-tastic night. Just watch your step as you exit the tram, and everything will be alright. Yeah, thank you for coming to the Universal Tour, everybody. Get home safe. Tram-tastic day.
Folks, thank you for joining us out on the tour, and have a beautiful day here at Universal Studios Hollywood, the entertainment capital of LA. As always, we'll see you guys in the movies. Right, Jimmy? He keeps going and going and going. And now it's time for you guys to go. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Just watch your step.